Welcome to the Fulham goals of the season for 1988-89. Well, here at New Sonic we're delighted to have with us for the first time Fulham manager Ray Lewington. He's going to accompany us through all the goals scored at the club in the past season, plus one or two special games we're featuring away from home. And we start by going back to last summer and the build-up to the new season. And it's no secret, Ray, that with Jeff Hopkins' departure and perhaps Leroy Rosenior never really being replaced in the front line, we looked a little bit goal-shy up front and perhaps a little bit suspect at the back. What were your thoughts this time last year?
Well, we needed first and foremost to replace Jeff Hopkins. Not only did we lose a good centre-half, but we lost a true captain. And so when we was looking for a replacement, we needed a leader type. We had gone for Doug Roovey at the time, and we thought we had him. But unfortunately he chose Shrewsbury, and all other channels that we tried to get people from, they seemed to be closed. So we had to start the season with we knew we was a little bit weak in a central defensive position, but nevertheless we decided to play Glenn there. We didn't want to panic and go out and spend money and then later regret it. So we decided to start off with Glenn, but obviously we knew we had a problem there. As I say, we didn't have a true leader and captain, and we said that we would keep looking out for that time. Up front, as you say, we'd lost a very, very good player in Leroy. We brought Michael Cole in just afterwards, and although Michael showed plenty of potential, the goal scoring achievements of Leroy weren't achieved by Michael. Nevertheless, we felt confident enough again to start the season with all involved. We did go out and purchase Andy Sayer just before the season started.
That was a bonus.
Yeah, but that was mainly at the time to replace Gordon Davis, who at the time we didn't think would last the season, but as it turned out, it proved okay.
So there we have it. We hadn't exactly set the third division alight with our pre-season games, but going down to Cardiff for the first fixture of the season, we came back with the 3 points.
That's right. We've come back with three very good points with goals from Andy and Gary Elkins, his first for the club, and it set us off quite nicely.
And that takes us neatly into our first action from Craven Cottage back on August the 30th, and it was in fact the Littlewoods Cup first leg game against near neighbours Brentford.
Yes, and that was a lovely ball from Gary Barnett. Mickey Cole accelerating into the box, something he should do a lot more, and he gets his rewards.
And this, in fact, after we've gone a goal down inside 17 seconds, the worst possible start.
Yes, Jeff Eckart's bad back pass has given us a very bad start, and considering the amount of penalties that we'd missed the year before, this was a pressure penalty for Justin come out.
But of course, he's got a cool head and he doesn't normally miss them.
That's right, he's had a lot of success this year, Justin. He's not missed a penalty, and he tucks us away very nicely.
So we're back in the game at one apiece, and that's midway through the first half. Now there was one or two penalties missed the season before last. It was settled pre-season that Justin would be the penalty taker, was it?
That's right, Justin decided to take it, which I think was in its own a very brave decision, seeing as he's a young boy just coming into the side. Shows he's got bags of confidence. He volunteered. We had a little penalty competition, and he won, and he decided to take them.
Now here we are into the second half, and the first goal for the home fans to cheer about from new signing Andy Sayer.
That's right, and it's a typical Andy Sayer goal. Latches onto a loose ball, looks as if there was no danger. He's got onto it first, and it chips it over the keeper, and as I say, typical Andy Sayer goal.
So we've come from behind inside the first minute to lead by 2-1. But to be fair to Brentford, on what was a very exciting local derby night, they came back with perhaps the best goal of the four to earn a creditable 2-2 draw.
That's right, it's been a very good match, but we've got to say that Brentford did play very well, probably slightly edged us on the night, and you can't do a lot about these goals. We were a little bit upset with one or two of the defensive positions from the lads, but the actual strike, magnificent goal.
Yep,
probably the best goal scored by the opposition this year.
That's Brentford full-back Roger Stanislaus there, blasting a 25-yarder unstoppably past Jim Stannard. Still 2-2 from the first leg. Meant that with the opening day of the season 2-1 win at Cardiff, we were still undefeated. And here we are now, the following Saturday, our first league fixture at home to Southend United.
That's right, and it was a bit of a boring match, very tight. Gordon Davis had just come on as substitute, and we kept probing for the opening, and in the end, after a nice little passing move there, a few passes, Gordon hits it first time, a little deflection, and in it goes. And he looks very pleased about it.
Yes, he certainly enjoys putting the ball in the back of the net. Of course, the hallmark of the great goal scorer that we know either to be. Southend seen off then, 100% record in the league, and the first home win under our belts against a Southend United side who are to end the season being relegated. But that immediately followed by our first defeat away to Mansfield, and here we are 2 weeks later at home to what proved to be a difficult Bury side.
Yes, they come and they play some really attractive football, Bury. I was most impressed with them at the time. But again, the ball gets a little deflection. Michael gets there first, and he finishes it very well to show that he can do it when he wants to. And after the penalty that he got in the first match, it's proved that when he accelerates into the box, he can score goals as well.
And that goal coming inside the first 10 minutes, Fulham holding on, and that solitary goal enough to see off Bury and land the 3 points, which keeps us still well placed at the top of the third division. In the meantime, the second leg in the Littlewoods Cup at Brentford saw us going out of the competition, a 1-0 defeat, thanks to a Gareth Blissett goal for the home side in extra time. And here, perhaps not one of our best league performances against a lowly Wigan side.
That's right, poor performance this day, but again you see Andy latching onto a loose ball, getting there first, and again over the keeper's head as he's coming out.
And that goal coming just after half-time, after Fulham had got in the break, one down. Still undefeated at home, however, but the next visitors to Craven Cottage, an eagerly awaited fixture it was too. Of course, the promoted side from the previous season, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, your thoughts on this one, Ray?
Well, we went behind again. Jim coming for a near post corner, which really had no need to do, but he's tried to help his defence out, and he's made a mistake, and we've been punished for it.
Turned into the net there from 2 yards by Andy Much. In fact, on the night, Steve Ball was not to get on the score sheet, although he could have had a couple in that first half.
That's right, Wolves played very, very well first half. We had most of the second half, and as you'll see, we're actually going to the lead with the following 2 goals.
Coming up now, a great strike from Robert Wilson.
Tremendous goal, this lovely little flick by Andy Sayer there. Saw Robert going through, breaks from the middle, tucks it into the corner. Excellent goal.
And Robert, who was made club captain at the beginning of the season, delighted with that one.
Yes, we brought Robert to do exactly that, to get forward into them positions. Unfortunately, that was the only goal he scored, and as well as everyone else being disappointed, I know Robert was as well. He quickly followed the first goal with his second goal. A penalty decision again, Andy getting behind the defence, latching onto a loose ball. And there you see the man pulling back, and no doubt a penalty.
Yes, clearly pulled back by the Wolves number 4, and much as he doesn't like the decision, a penalty it is. This coming just about 10 minutes after half-time. We really enjoyed a golden spell here, and it's that man, Justin Skinner, the coolest head on the field perhaps, to put the ball on the spot.
That's right, and again another pressure penalty, but it was a big match. We knew that the Wolves would be there at the end, and after coming from behind and just to take the lead, it was another pressure penalty. But again, nice cool head. Steps up, the keeper's already had a little word with him, tried to put him off. He tucks it away very nicely.
And Fulham ahead against much fancied Wolves here by 2-1 of the night. But not to be outdone, Wolves, of course, strong in all departments. And they never stopped coming back at us. And indeed, it was an equaliser coming up, which saw the final score on the night 2 apiece. Talk us through the Wolves equaliser, Ray.
Well, a little bit disappointed here because there's a lot of people around the ball. Someone should have made the tackle. But you see that the Goodins broke through, slight deflection off Johnny Marshall, and it's gone over Jim's head. A bad goal really. If one had taken responsibility to put his foot in and get a tackle, he probably would have stopped the danger.
But having said that, in the last 5 minutes, 2 golden opportunities to wrap it up and take the full 3 points.
Yes, certainly. Lovely interception here by Gary Barnett, and he sends Andy Sale away. This actually looks easier on the night. It's a little bit difficult. Got caught under Gordon's feet. Look how many Wolves defenders get back. They did very well there. A little bit unfortunate, really.
And that coming in the 86th minute, and here in the very dying seconds, in fact, the ball put into the net by Robert Wilson, and the referee rules it out.
Yes, this must have been very, very close, because it doesn't look blatantly obvious that he was offside, but the referee's given it, and that's all we need to know.
Yes, and to be fair to the officials on the night, the flag was raised before the ball crossed the line, but how close Wolves, the eventual champions of Division 3, came to defeat there on that October evening at Craven Cottage. But a real humdinger of a result to follow with a trip to Ashton Gate.
Yes, and quite a strange result really. We end up 5-1 winners in a game that was relatively evenly matched. The first goal really summed the match up, getting a free kick for the referee, for the goalkeeper stepping outside his penalty area. I think everyone missed it bar the linesman. And you see the lads here having a little chat to which one's going to strike the ball, and end up Gary Peters coming up and scoring his 2nd goal of the season.
A word about Gary Peters. He joined the club on non-contract basis and in fact was simply playing for fun, I believe.
Yes, he was. He didn't even receive expenses. He did it purely because he wanted to help us out. He knew we had a situation at Fulham where we didn't start off with no recognised centre-half, and he come in and did a brilliant job, and can't thank him enough for it.
And just to the right of our picture now, out of vision, in 1 second, a sweet right footer from Gary first time that finds the bottom corner.
And it does very well here, because the easiest thing in the world when the defenders are rushing out there is to take your eye off the ball and have a look where the defenders are. He's kept his head down, eye on the ball, and he's hit through the ball and tucked it nicely into the corner.
Well, that was an early shock for the team that had just missed out on the playoffs the previous season, Bristol City. And worse was to follow.
Yes, a marvellous ball from Robert Wilson here. Spots it nice and early, one touch. Andy definitely onside. He was in the dugout there, right next to it. He's stayed onside. Not the best defending I've ever seen from the Bristol City lads, but nevertheless Andy tucks it in superbly.
And that coming just 5 minutes before half-time, so Fulham in the perhaps surprising but comfortable position of going in 2-0 ahead.
Yes, this third one is from a short corner, one that we use quite often, short corners, and we've got a read there. First time ball in from Justin, Jeff Eckhart heading it in on the inside of the bar.
And that, after your half-time team talk, had been to the boys to keep it tight.
That's right, we come out and decided just to keep it tight, frustrate them, and we certainly got a reward early on.
Now a tremendous goal here.
Marvellous goal. One of the better goals of the season. Fantastic look there. Drops his shoulder slightly, sticks it in the corner. Marvellous goal from John. One of many spectacular goals from Johnny Marshall this year.
Well, I was in the stadium that afternoon, and the applause from the Bristol fans was as generous as was the applause from the Fulham end.
That's right, and funny enough, that was what was said in the dugout. I think everyone recognised that everyone stood up and clapped. It was a marvellous goal.
Joe Jordan there, kidding the referee?
Rather spectacular. I think the referee's feeling sorry for him. Gives the penalty. We allow it.
2 minutes from time, 4-0 up away from home at what on paper looked like a tough visit to Ashton Gate, and we were all feeling a bit charitably well then. But certainly Joe had come on as substitute, and he had shaken them up a little bit.
Yes, he'd livened up a little bit. They started slinging high balls into the box, causing us a few problems, as only Joe can do. He takes it away quite nicely there.
But of course, in the Fulham camp, the 3 points are by this time safely in the bag. And in fact, we keep our pictures running for you here, because this was the 88th minute. There's a substitution, as you see, Colin Gordon, the man coming off, who we'll talk about in a second. And Ronnie Roger, who'd come from Charlton on a free in the summer.
That's right. Ronnie going straight up front, which is where he likes to play. Since then he's been converted to a fullback, but he likes to play up front, coming on there. But I think the Bristol City players felt a little bit sore for us there after that penalty decision, and you'll see a marvellous through ball there from one of their players in a minute. Just coming up, perfectly weighted. Andy Sale runs onto it and slides it in.
And as they say, charity begins at home.
That's right.
And the final result, Bristol City 1, Fulham 5. Well, we couldn't believe it going back on the M4 either, but that result in fact earned Fulham the Barclays Performance of the Week for the 3rd Division. And that must have set you up nicely for the following Saturday at home to Aldershot.
Well, Aldershot the next game, and we remember from the previous season now the game turned our season. Jeff Hopkins broke his leg that day, and we got defeated in the game that did turn the season for us. We went into a bad run after that. So there was nothing said in the dressing room beforehand. It said get out and beat them. And as you see, a typical Andy Sayer goal to give us the perfect start. Bad back pass, Andy first onto it, and he tucks it away very nice. Makes it look very easy, Andy.
Yes, Steve Berry, in fact, player to leave Aldershot later on in the season. But that's not a back pass he'll be proud of.
No, certainly not.
But of course, the keeper's still to be beaten, and Andy doing the business there. At that time, he was finding the net regularly.
Yes, great goal scoring record when he first came. Marvellous anticipation all the time in and around the box.
Now, Colin Gordon in the action here as the build up to the second goal begins.
Yes, he's a big strong lad, and he holds on the ball there, and that was a marvellous through ball from Andy. Marshy comes in, and again a spectacular strike into the corner. Marvellous goal.
2-0 up then, and at the psychological time just before half time.
That's right.
Now, a word about Colin Gordon. He'd been signed from Reading for £80,000.
Yes, we was looking for a big lad who would get on the end of the high balls, and so we could have a variation of crosses, because at the time we were just putting low ones in. And with him in the side, we thought we could vary the crosses, and big strong lad in the air. But it never really paid off for us. It's the 3rd goal here, which Colin actually tried to claim afterwards. But I think Barney deserves that as a marvellous chip. But Colin came in primarily to add a little bit of height and strength into the squad. He had his problems with us. He found it hard to settle in with the team straight away. Only scored on the one occasion. And after that he had a lot of injury problems, so it was a bit of a shame.
But that delightful chip of Gary Barnett's the first of 3 goals in a 15-minute spell, which really buried Aldershot here.
That's right. See, again, we're hitting the ball back post for a change, and you get the scramble, and Andy puts it in. Typical goal scorer's goal, little flick in. But again, being able to vary the crosses in to the back post high with Colin there.
And of course the faithful in the Stevenage Road stand there enjoyed that one. And for the second week in succession, Fulham rattle in 5.
Yes, another short corner. We quite often use short corners, especially if the opposition are not awake. Again, a far post ball. This time Robert Wilson got on the end of it, and Jeff Eckhart throwing it in.
So Jeff Eckhart, in fact, on the score sheet 2 consecutive Saturdays. He wasn't to score again all season.
That's right, I think that was the best of him.
Yeah. But of course, all Jeff's work done at the back.
That's right.
This at a time when Fulham was still perhaps looking for some solidity and still in the market for a centre-half.
That's right.
Midweek fixture now, Northampton Town, who had perhaps been the least attractive of visitors to the cottage in the previous season. We'd got a goal down early, and we're back in the game here.
Yes, a double foul there, I think. I think they could have no complaints about that. Robert Wilson, the man, first fouled, and Colin coming in behind him. I think the foul was actually given for the first on Robert. And again, another penalty for Justin to put away.
Peter Glazier, the man between the posts for Northampton, who had been voted the Player of the Year for the Cobblers last season, but once again left helpless here by Justin's spot kick. In fact, not to miss a penalty all season, was he, Ray?
Yes, he did very well, Justin. I mean, half the thing about taking a penalty is keeping a cool head, and he certainly showed that he can keep his head in them sort of situations.
And that brought the teams level at 1 apiece. Few people before kick-off would have expected 5 goals on the night from this fixture.
Well, it was 0-0 the previous year, but Marvellous goal coming up here. Lovely little back foot by Robert Wilson. And Gary Barnett finished it superbly. Nice little goal.
Yes, a delightful flick with the head there from Robert Wilson, and Gary Barnett from that position puts his head down and really had time to pick his spot. So 2-1 ahead. And Clive Walker, as we see, has been brought on as substitute.
That's right, just come on. Another short corner. Encouraging Clive to take his man on. Another low cross, and there you get your reward.
In fact, the ball deflecting off the Northampton fullback Dean Thomas, but going down in the record books as a goal to Clive Walker. Now, Clive not in your starting lineup at this time.
No, he'd been left out through injury. He'd had to have a week off, and the side had done reasonably well, so we kept the same side. But he's a nice substitute to have.
Certainly. So Northampton are seen off by 3-2, and perhaps a team you might have been expected to beat, but it proved otherwise.
Yes.
Blackpool taking the lead.
Tough side, Blackpool. They always come 5 at the back, but this is Colin Gordon's first goal for the club. Good header from the far post. But Blackpool come and make it very difficult for you. They play 5 at the back. They're not too adventurous with their full-back, so they literally do stay 5 at the back. And it can be very tough if you let an early goal in, as we did. The game was never a classic, but I felt we'd go on and win it from there, but it stayed 1-1.
Yes, and in fact Blackpool got one off the line inside the first 5 minutes, which could have changed the course of that one. But here we are, a midweek fixture, and one of the more entertaining games seen at the Cottage all season.
Lovely little header from Gary there. Nice brave header inside the 6-yard box. And looks very pleasing.
And that cancelling out an early strike from Trevor Senior. On 35 minutes, Gary Barnett stooping header past ex-Brentford keeper Gary Phillips makes the score 1 apiece. Now in the second half the game really began to boil.
Well, I personally think the next 45 minutes was as good as we played all season. I thought we played with some superb stuff. Lovely ball there from Robert Wilson. Clive gets himself in the box, little scramble, and Andy won't get an easy one in that.
A tap in then from right on the goal line. And the final score is Fulham 2, Reading 1. Reading coming to the club as simmered cup holders, but in fact slipping down the table as the season progressed, and their bad run in fact coinciding with that defeat. So this team is still buoyant, and we're still in the top 6 at this stage in the season, Ray.
That's right, and things were looking quite nice, but then true to form we had a bad patch. And this in fact is the first match out of that bad patch. And as it turned out, although we didn't know at the time, Preston, who were thereabouts at the end. And this was an important victory for us to get us back.
Yes, but that is certainly an early Christmas present. The man in black, disguised as Santa Claus, awards a penalty for what he said to me afterwards was handball.
Well, that's just, if you're having a bad time, it's usually a decision like that gets you out of it. Things like that turn games. As you see, Justin tucks it away. Yep. And gives us the confidence and gets us back on the winning trail.
A very important victory, as you said, Ray, because this coming hard on the heels of defeat in the first round of the FA Cup to then bottom club in the 4th, Colchester.
That's right.
And a very bad performance against Brentford once again in the Sherpa van.
That's right, 2 abysmal performances, and we really need a win from anywhere just to get us out of it.
Indeed, following on after 2 tough away defeats at Sheffield United and Port Vale.
That's right.
And you've got Gordon Davis back into the side.
Yes, Gordon comes back into this game to start off a great finish to the end of the season for Gordon personally. Never let me down once he got in. Scored regularly. Marvellous end of the season for him.
Now the start of the second half, and
yeah, we keep the ball nicely here. We don't panic and we don't just lump the ball in anywhere. We keep the ball, keep possession. Nice little one-touch movements, playing it around. And again, the low cross in, which goes in. I don't think he meant it. I mean, there's a hard cross, but as you say, if you get it in hard enough, it's liable to get deflections or slide off into the net.
Yes, going through Roy Tunks there, and Fulham running out victorious by 2-1. Preston getting back on the score sheet with a last-minute consolation. Peter Corley coming in.
That's right, Peter's first game for us, which undoubtedly was his best game for us. Did very well that match. We had a bit of a crisis in the central defence, a few injuries, and he did very well for us.
The Christmas fixtures saw mixed fortunes, a 1-0 win at Gillingham and defeat at Chesterfield.
Yes, but this is a dream start by Peter Scott's left foot from 25 yards. Fantastic goal. Again, one of the better goals seen at the Cottage this year. I still don't think it was the best, but a marvellous goal from Peter Scott.
And that coming inside 6 minutes on the New Year's Day fixture against, of course, those local rivals once again, Brentford. Not having a bad run themselves at the time.
That's right. It was an excellent game, this game. Here you see Johnny Marshall picking the ball up. He played right back that day. Gary Barnett, lovely ball over the top. Great run from John. And there, Ivor just having 2 touches to put it in.
Yes. Well, all our hearts went our mouths there for a second. But Ivor, yep, he enjoyed that one.
He did enjoy that.
And Brentford are 2 down.
Yes, but unfortunately we let them back in. 2-2 by half-time. In fact, Brentford went into the lead just after half-time, went 3-2 ahead. But here you see the equalising the goal. And once again, that man Davis. Running away from the defence, keeper stays on his line, and Ivor tucks it away.
And that came in the 64th minute, just after Glenn Thomas had come on as substitute and worked in his first touch, releasing Davis down the touchline. A goal that Steve Perriman felt was offside, but they all count. It's 2 for Ivor on the day, and the final score, a 6-goal thriller in front of a big crowd. Fulham 3, Brentford 3. Now we're into 1989, of course. And the following Saturday, yes, what on paper looked like a tough fixture against Chester.
Well, this personally is my favourite goal of the season, partly because of the build-up, one-touch football, getting it down, Mickey holding it up, keeping possession all the time, and then Scotty with a bit of space, 1-2, accelerates into the box and puts it in. So from the goalkeeper to the far net, nice passing movements, Scotty getting himself in the box. Marvellous goal.
And that's a goal from Peter Scott inside 10 minutes. And Chester, in fact, had come to the Cottage with an excellent defensive record, playing 5 at the back, and you felt they'd be a difficult team to beat.
I did. We usually do have problems against Chester, as we later found out in the latter stages of the season. But we did start very well in this game. Great tackle here from Jeff Eckhart, winning the ball back straight away. Mickey a little bit unlucky there, and got Clive on hand to follow up.
And that's 2 inside 11 minutes. And Chester were to concede a third before they hardly knew what had hit them.
That's right, we were really playing well now. We was knocking the ball around. We looked as if we were about to score every time we attacked. Played some marvellous stuff. And we get our reward with the 3rd goal here. Again, we're keeping possession, not just giving the ball away. We can't just lump balls in the middle because we're not that, but there's a nice through ball there. And again, people coming in to follow up. Gary Barnett this time.
Yep, nice bit of poaching after the keeper pulled off a good save from Gordon Davis, who was not to be denied. And after Chester had briefly threatened to come back into the game in the second half, it's Ivor who ties it up.
Yes, that's right. They made a substitution, changed their system around, and for a little while it did look, after they scored a goal, as if there could be a crisis looming. But we get the ball back again. Again, keeping possession, probing. We get a corner from this, I think.
Yep, into the second half here. And nearly an own goal, in fact.
That's right.
We don't get too many goals, do we, from corners?
No, we have got a lack of height in the side, especially at this stage of the season before Doug Ruby arrived. But actually Glenn Thomas does very well here. The Chester are one of the biggest sides in the league. And we don't usually play near post corners against big lads like this, but we obviously felt at the time, Gary Barnett felt that Glenn could do it, which he does, gets a nice little flick, goalkeeper comes, and that is a pure instinctive goal from Gordon Davis.
He really had hit a purple patch at this time, hadn't he?
That's right. He come in, we'd left him out at the start of the season, and he come in very, very sharp and with a point to prove, and he's certainly proven it.
Yes, and those fans salute Ivor. It's another goal in the bag, and that leaves him just one short of Johnny Haynes' all-time goal-scoring record for Fulham, and that record was equalled in the next home fixture here, a rainy afternoon against Mansfield.
Yes, a rather dull affair. Mansfield again coming with 5 at the back, but there's Gordon. Bit of a scrappy goal, but well deserved.
Not the best goal he'll ever score, I'm sure, but that in fact equals Johnny Haynes' all-time goal-scoring record. Ivor's 157th goal in a Fulham shirt. And of course he was to go on to break that record away to Wolves in a match we unfortunately lost by 5-2, but returning to the cottage here and the visit of Huddersfield Town.
Yes, second defeat of the season, but we actually go ahead. Rather clumsy challenge there from the defender.
This was at the start of the second half. It had been, well, a fairly mundane affair up to then.
Yes, it was a very boring game this, I remember thinking that at the time, but it was one of them days we never really sparked into life, and we got what we deserved in the end, despite going ahead.
Justin out of the side, and the one penalty converted this season by Clive Walker, giving the keeper no chance. Well, that 5-2 hammering at Wolves followed. It saw Ivor getting the record-breaking goal. It also saw the arrival of Doug Rugby and an experiment in the previous week's reserve game with a sweeper system.
That's right, we weren't sure whether Doug would play on the Saturday against Wolves. He hadn't put pen to paper by then. So we decided to experiment playing Justin as a sweeper, various people as a sweeper during the reserve game on the Tuesday previous to that. Obviously with Bull and Much up there, especially Bull scoring so frequently, we knew we had to try and do something different. Unfortunately it backfired and reserves lost 5-0. So we scrapped that idea. So Doug was thrown in at the deep end after signing. Unfortunately he arrived on the day of the match not very well. He slept all the way up in the back of the coach, flat out, and it was a disaster of a day, to be honest.
Well, to our far happy occasion now, as we see pre-kick-off against Bristol City, Gordon Davis being presented with a silver salver, Doug Rugby installed as skipper, and once again really the dream start.
That's right. Dangerous kicking awarded there.
This in fact is after 4 minutes. And although John Bailey, we see here, the Bristol number 3, protests his innocence to the referee, in my opinion quite correctly, that's an indirect free kick, half a dozen yards from the City goal?
That's right, and when you see the Bristol City ball form, there is a slight gap between them, and I would think Joe Jordan was very disappointed that this went in. But as the camera turns around, and you'll see one of them just come apart, and there is a slight gap to start off with. You just see it there between first and second on the post, and that's eventually where the ball ends up, through everyone's legs.
Well, amazingly, that's gone through about 4 pairs of legs, but it's in the back of the net. Fulham are ahead. Bristol City in between 2 Littlewoods Cup ties here against Notts Forest.
That's right, they've done ever so well during the midweek to old Brian Clubs Forest, and they're a good side, Bristol City. We thought they'd give us plenty of problems, but we did well this day.
Well, they equalised on 25 minutes through Scott McGarvey, but Fulham back ahead with this goal.
Yeah, lovely little goal here. Ivor to Mikey Cole, back again to Ivor, and Gordon Davis putting it in with the inside of his left foot. And a nice little gesture here from Gordon Davis, appreciating Michael Cole's flick. Nice gesture.
And Ivor setting new records at the club in 1988-89. The goal scoring continues from the Welsh maestro. And to wrap things up, another rare event on the afternoon, a John Marshall header.
Yes, most surprising. Doug causing a bit of havoc there. Gets cleared, Scotty comes back in, and there, off the top of Marsh's head, perfectly directed. Well done, John. Into the roof of the net.
Yes, and Joe Jordan after the game was not a happy man, as I can vouchsafe. But I came away from the interview intact, and Fulham came away with the 3 points. And that, interestingly enough, after the defeat at home to Huddersfield and the hammering at Wolves, was perhaps the low point in the season, and from here on in we really did hit an upwards curve.
That's right, we went to Northampton during the week and got beat, but from here on in we have a nice little run towards the end of the season. Great tackle here from Richard Langley. Nice little ball here that's played through to Marshy, and he runs the rest of the field. Another marvellous goal from Johnny Marshall.
Swansea might have made a tackle there perhaps.
Yeah.
But no doubt about the finish.
Beautiful finish. Another great goal.
Outside of the foot, and that was the only goal of the game. Swansea at this time, don't forget, were in the top 6 above Fulham. Must have fancied their own chances of a playoff position. Well, it wasn't to be, and that was a vital 3 points.
And now we go on to Notts County, who I think will have a say in what happens next year. They look quite a strong side on the night, and they were the team in form at the time. But we got off to a great start, great ball in from Mickey, and again Ivor getting just that half a yard in front of the defender. That's all he needs, and he puts it in.
Yep, at 33 years of age, still looking good enough to get in the Welsh team, Ray.
Well, he still makes his half a yard, which all good forwards do in the inside the penalty box, and once he gets his half yard, he very rarely misses the target.
And also, as all Fulham fans will know, over the years, for a small man, he scored more than his fair share of goals with his head.
That's right, and you'll see a good example coming here. Mickey Cole was hauled back there. You see a very windy night, and the rain was lashing down. But here you see an example again of Ivor just stealing the half a yard in front of the defender and getting it on target.
6 minutes remaining, and this just about makes the game safe.
Lovely goal.
And although we conceded a late penalty, Fulham not to be denied. Another 3 points, another win, and now we're beginning to put a run together.
That's right. After Swansea and Blackpool in Notts County, 3 wins on the trot, we now go and we visit the visitor of Cardiff to the Cottage.
And once again, an early strike, this time at the Putney end from that man John Marshall. He really does score some spectacular goals, doesn't he, Ray?
Yes, and this is another one which he goes back. Good play there by the rest of the lads, all getting the ball back as quickly. John lifts his head slightly there, sees the goal and hits it off the far post. Again, a lovely goal. Marvellous goal from John Marshall.
Cardiff were comfortably mid-table and really had nothing to play for, and were perhaps modest in their ambitions on the day. Nothing to be taken away from Fulham's performance. They always look clear winners once they've gone ahead, although the second goal was a long time in coming.
Yes, but again, it's nice possession in the corner. Referee let play on there, and there's a little mad scramble here, but the ball actually stays out.
Rather still down at this point.
Yeah.
The play continues.
Slight suspicion of offside here. Nevertheless, Justin takes it in well.
Yes, and that seals it with 15 minutes to go. I've personally never seen Fulham score an offside goal in the 30 years I've been watching the team, Ray.
Me never. Me too.
They all count, and those fans went home happy, now beginning to think that perhaps promotion really was a possibility.
Yes, it was, especially after this game. Brentford, a side that we don't usually do well against, but after this game, and especially this goal from Mickey, it seemed that someone was smiling on us.
It was a very windy Good Friday morning at Griffin Park. The first time we beaten Brentford in 4 encounters that season. That was the 5th, and that must have been sweet indeed, Ray.
Yes, it was a marvellous feeling, that, and as I say, you just had the feeling that we were going to make the playoffs after this game.
Well, of course, Fulham being Fulham,
yes,
on the Easter Monday we come back down to a bump against the bottom team, Gillingham.
I set 5 straight wins on the trot. We have the visit of Gillingham to the Cottage to make it 6. It was just a formality, but we come unstuck. And as you say, it could only happen to Fulham. especially after taking the lead with this goal. Again, another Johnny Marshall effort. Colin Gordon does very well there, slides it through. John plays it in and goes for a return. Lovely ball there, head down, strikes through it. Great goal.
And that was just after half-time. In the sunshine, the home fans sat back and waited for the demolition of Gillingham, which was never to arrive. Gillingham winning by 2-1 with a brace of goals from Gavin Peacock. Well, a result then which caused a temporary setback, because that was immediately followed by a tremendous away performance here at Preston North End.
That's right, we went to Preston just below them in the table, and by now everyone's sights set on a promotion place. And that was the worst possible start. Preston scored in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah. Tony Phillips-Kirk on 3 on the artificial turf at Deepdale. But one man who's always enjoyed playing against Preston is that man, Gordon Davis.
Yes, and we're soon to see a typical Gordon Davis goal.
In fact, before the goal scoring starts, this one coming back off the woodwork.
Oh, that's right, a marvellous shot from Justin Skinner. It was a period where we're just beginning to believe in ourselves now. We started to push the ball around, we started to play. And there's Gordon's goal. Beautiful finishing, always into the side net.
Colin Gordon there with a number 3 on the back, but in fact playing at centre forward.
Yes, he played. That was probably his best game for us, and a marvellous game that day.
He'd been out with a number of niggling injuries.
Yeah, he had a lot of back problems, and this was his first game back, and he did very well that day.
And his presence, of course, caught his confusion in the box here, a header from Rugby and number 2 for Gordon. Gordon Davis.
Quick turn, puts it in the net. Again, typical goal scorer's goal, typical Davis goal.
So we turned a 1-0 deficit into a 2-1 half-time lead, and in fact it was deep into the second half before the game was made safe.
That's right, by now Preston had started to push forward and gambling a little bit. Left the space, here you see Clive Walker just coming into the pitch on the left, oceans of room. Great ball there by Justin Skinner, slides it through. Clive keeps his composure and slides it into the corner.
And that just about wrapped it up, but to make the win even more emphatic, just after that Colin Gordon gets on the score sheet. And
That's
it's
right.
4-1.
He actually takes the goal very well. As you'll see in a minute, he's a bit of an instinctive goal. Gordon does very well there to latch onto that ball. A little bit of a scramble there coming up. And it ricochets to Colin and he turns, hits it first time, and that just wraps it up.
Now the confidence after a 4-1 demolition at Preston must have been sky high. What happened when the team went to Chester, Ray?
Well, you win 6 games out of 7, and you think everything's going right. And in particularly us, we are prone to do it. We go and lose 7-0.
Well,
and this was embarrassing.
Well, I'm sure the bubbly tasted all the better for it. We'll draw a veil over that 7-0 defeat at Chester. Possibly the only time Barclays Manager of the Month has received the award following a 7-0 drubbing. However, this was the occasion before the home game against Chesterfield, and that's a great reward for all the hard work Ray's done throughout the season, and the bottle of bubbly along with the Barclays cheque. Now, Chesterfield were coming out of the bottom 4 at this time and proving a very durable side indeed to break down.
Yes, I would have thought of a lot more teams I would like to have played after being beaten 7-0 than Chesterfield. They're a hard side. They've beaten us 4-1 already at their place. Great ball there from Andy Sauer. And a John Marshall header. Again, another good goal from John Marshall.
Andy Sauer, who had come off the bench here.
That's right.
And this again after Fulham had gone a goal down, Dave Waller just after the break.
That's right, and we showed a lot of character here, because it was a game we could have lost quite easily, especially after that defeat. But I think we showed a lot of determination in this game.
And another player we haven't mentioned so far this season coming into the picture now in a big way, and that's Gary Elkins.
Yep, he started the season off with a goal. Lovely little ball there from Clive. Gary keeps running, and definitely a suspicion offside there, but we're not going to worry about it.
No more than 3 yards, I would have said.
I would only say 3 yards.
Once again, Andy Sayer is on the score sheet. His first since Reading way back in October. And that was April, and Fulham, well, with 3 home games to come, must have really fancied their chances of getting into the playoffs. But on paper, Bolton proved to be tougher than we thought.
Well, at the time we were playing a lot of sides who, on current form, were top of the league, and at this time Bolton They'd had a great run. I don't think they'd lost in 10 matches, and they came and made it very difficult for us. But nevertheless, we got an opening there. Justin denied by the goalkeeper from the header, but he gets his reward from this. In actual fact, in the post corner that was flicked on by the Bolton defender, and Justin comes in behind.
And from 5 yards, he couldn't miss. Justin doesn't get too many goals with his head, does he?
No, he scored one later on in the season against Reading away, so he's got a couple.
But in fact, it's one apiece, and what has to be seen as 2 points dropped. But of course, that result followed by 2 excellent away wins at Wigan and Aldershot.
Yes, 2 teams lowly down at the foot of the division, but nevertheless 2 good wins. They were fighting for survival. And then we come on to this very attractive fixture against Sheffield United, and this is the first couple of minutes of the game.
Great early ball from Ivan.
Yeah, lovely ball from Gordon there. And this is a perfect cross. Peter Scott coming around the back, and that is a perfect finish. Very close actually to being goal of the season, but I think his other one just showed it.
Well, Sheffield United, of course, were in second place, the eventual promotion team alongside Wolves, but I think that goal was greeted with the loudest cheer at the Cottage of all the goals I saw last season.
Yes, it was spectacular, and I think there was a lot on it that day, and a lot of relief from people, as well as it being a cracking goal.
But Sheffield United have clawed their way back into the game at the start of the second.
That's right. They equalised just before half-time with a lovely ball here from Mickey. Again, first couple of minutes of the half, first-time ball, and again Gordon Davis in with his head. Magnificent goal.
Really 2 goals to savour there from that fixture.
Yes, were superb goals in what was a very, very good game.
An excellent game then, enjoyed by a big crowd. A large travelling contingent had come down from Yorkshire. But really the pressure was off because Fulham had done it all away from home, and the playoff position by now was all but guaranteed.
Yes, we just needed a couple more points, but we could have got them here in fact. We've got a couple of chances here. Nice little play, and now that ball didn't stay out. It actually hit the boarding behind. It must have dipped 4 or 5 feet after going over the bar. Very unlucky for Michael Carr. And here you see coming out with a magnificent shot from Peter Scott. Again, very unlucky.
Well, what a double for Peter it would have been if this one had gone in instead of hitting the crossbar.
Good 25 yards out, keeper beaten. And we was told after the game that goal wouldn't have standed, Andy's follow-up wouldn't have standed, although Peter's shot would have counted.
Yes, the linesman was flagging on the Stevenage Road side for offside, in fact, against Andy Sayer. And a real storybook finish this would have been in the final minute.
Yes, Jeff Eckhart breaking from the back. Lovely cross from Johnny Marshall, and there's Jeff. And he said afterwards that he saw his chance for glory and lost concentration, took his eye off the ball, and that's what happens. If you don't get your eye on the ball, it's likely to go anywhere.
So the final score was 2 apiece. A great away win at Reading, as we come to the final fixture of the 46 at home to Port Vale.
That's right. We'd beaten Reading and drawn at Bristol Rose, which meant we was in the playoffs, but I must admit, we wanted to win this one, but this is a smashing goal. Nice little dummy there from Gordon Davis. Glenn Thomas kept running. Hard low cross. Mickey gets in front of his defender and flicks it in. Excellent goal. We started off very well in this game, played some beautiful football. And if we'd got the second, I'm sure we would have gone on and won it quite comfortably.
Well, you said to me before the kick-off you were looking for an emphatic win to set the team up psychologically for the playoffs.
That's right, although we didn't need the win. We'd already made the playoff place. Firstly, we needed the win because we wanted the home leg second. And also just to prove a point to the other sides that we were here. And they know they had to beat us. Justin snatching at a shot there after making his own space with a nice little bit of skill. But you'll probably see this is the most unfortunate thing here from Mickey. He could have cried for him. Lovely little move. Justin getting an advance to the defence. Lovely ball in. And you would think that was harder to put over than under.
Yep, the miss of the season without a doubt for Michael Cole, and the second there surely would have killed off Port Vale.
I would think so, yes.
As it was, they came back in the second half to sneak the points with a 2-1 win. However, both sides go forward to the playoffs, as do Bristol Rovers, the first of the two legs, away at Twerton Park on a hot Sunday.
And this could have been a very good start for us. You can't really blame Gordon there. He hit the target. You've got to say it's good, instinctive goalkeeping from a lad who is actually a very, very good goalkeeper.
A crucial save from Nigel Martin. That was inside the first 90 seconds in the first leg.
But here Jim shows that he's not to be outdone. Getting the back post, falls down, and from 3 yards Jim managed to keep that out somehow.
Well, I was right in front of that. An incredible save from Jim Stanley.
Yeah, fantastic save. He just made himself as big as he could and smothered it. Excellent goalkeeping. Again, nice little flick. Get in there. Probably John, on reflection, should have had a go at goal instead of trying to cross him, but it's always easier after the event.
We were 19 minutes, Ray, from coming away with a 0-0 scoreline in the first leg, which is what we wanted, when this happened from this corner.
Yes, and Jim felt he was impeded here. I'm not too sure. I think the lad is so big he just climbed and made it hard Jim to move. But at the time I didn't think that a 1-0 defeat was the end of the world. I thought that we could probably come back from that, and I wasn't that disappointed. Although having said that, this next bit of action, it's just amazing how the ball was kept out. Off the line. Flies into Ivor's face from 3 yards and manages to go over the top.
Yes, and that was the story of the afternoon, I'm afraid, at Twerton Park, and here we are in the return at Craven Cottage. 11 minutes on the clock.
Yeah. And I think that really was the turning point in the whole series of games. We should have scored that without doubt. Michael was very upset with himself afterwards. Golden opportunity, really. If you head it back from where it comes from, you score a goal. Again, the keeper made a fantastic save here from Justin. We actually created the best chances. Bristol Rovers' best chances came from long distance shots, but we actually created the better chances, although Bristol Rovers were playing the better football on the night. It has to be said that we didn't play well at all. But at this point, even at this point going in at half-time, after Jim had made these couple of saves, we still felt that we was there. Good save from Jim. Although, again, restricting Bristol Rovers to long shots, we was quite happy with that.
30-yarder tip over there from N.E. Rees.
And again, you see a snapshot here from just outside the box, which Jim does well again. But as I say, we're restricting them to long shots. Although they had the majority of the possession, we still felt that we was in there with a shout.
Now a sequence of action 15 minutes into the second half.
Yeah, the boy does very well to get that over the bar. Very well. I've seen them go in there and net. But here comes a sequence of events that really, just after the save. But again, another turning point in the game.
Fulham still looking to claw back the 1-goal advantage Rovers carried in from the first leg. Great run from Justin.
Little lay back. Scotty comes in and the lad clears off the line.
The ball's not away yet.
No, we keep possession, scrambling around. Hectic stuff. Another marvellous save from the keeper. And still they don't get it away. And again, it goes back in the box. And this time, the keeper manages to keep it.
Nigel Martin there, the brilliant England under-23 keeper, breaking Fulham hearts. Once again a save here from Clive Walker's free kick. Makes it look simple, doesn't he, Ray?
That's right. We had a few free kicks that night. We were very disappointed with our set-piece efforts that night, as we was the whole performance. But the lad certainly is a very good goalkeeper, and it does make it difficult for you.
So, as time ticks away, Fulham 1 goal down on the night. It's Rovers now coming back, winning a corner. And this, I'm afraid, Ray, was the beginning of the end.
Yes, I'm afraid it was. From this corner it gets partially cleared and knocked back into the far post, and I'm afraid we'd lost our markers.
We'll just see this corner come over, and the first goal for Rovers on the night. Billy Clark, young defender, climbing at the back post. Rovers are 1 ahead, 2 ahead on aggregate, and now it's all going wrong.
Yes, from the mad scramble one end to the goal down the other end, and then Peter Scott being sent off. The end to a disappointing night.
Second bookable offence, in fact, a rash challenge really by Peter. His exuberance got the better of him, and now Rovers really turned the screw.
That's right, this is the best goal, alright. Marvellous chip. But Burnell Rovers full of confidence. I'm afraid 1 or 2 of our lads have dropped their heads with the 10 men.
Well, Ian Holloway it was, the ex-Brentford man there. We cut to the end of the game. 2 more Rovers goals were to ensue. They won 5-0 on aggregate, as we know, went through to the final in the playoffs where Port Vale emerged victorious. Ray, there you are on the pitch. The pictures speak for themselves, of course, consoling the lads, but Ivor in particular was very distraught.
Yeah, he was heartbroken, Ivor. You can see him there. There was a few tears from a few of the lads in the dressing room. They knew that we had the chance. We felt we could have done it before the game, and we blew our chance, and very disappointing night.
Well, a sad night there at the cottage at the end of May, and perhaps a night best forgotten. But let's not forget the team had done remarkably well to get into the playoffs, and hopefully next season they can go one better. Looking back, Ray, on the season, all told, you must have been fairly happy, apart of course from that Bristol Rovers result, and to go one better next season.
Well, that's right. I mean, we had early problems in defence, letting a few goals in at the time. We plugged that when we bought Doug Roovey, and we had a lovely run from signing Doug. And as you say, hopefully we have laid the foundations. We obviously are short in 1 or 2 positions, which maybe we can do something about this summer. But as you say, it was a decent season, and what we need to do now is just go one better.
Yeah, I know managers never like singling out players, but who was the outstanding individual for you last season?
Well, for my money, Jeff Eckert. I agreed with the supporters. I think when the times were not so good early on, and there were 1 or 2 bad results, the one man that come shining through all the time was Jeff, and at times he was fighting them against, on his own. So I would say Jeff is the outstanding player.
And of all the goals we've seen on the video, your personal favourites?
Well, I didn't realise there were so many good ones. Looking back, there were some cracking goals this season, and it's very, very hard to choose. But for the pure build-up and finish, I think Peter Scott's first goal against Chester.
And a couple of others you want to mention?
Well, I think you can mention any of Johnny Marshall's this year.
Yes,
Spectacular goals, some absolutely magnificent goals from John. Peter Scott's goal against Sheffield United has to have a mention, as does Gordon Davis's goal in that same game. But there's been some very, very good goals, either good build-ups or good finishing. And, if we can reproduce that next year, then we won't be far away.
Well, that's great news for all Fulham fans. We'd like to thank Ray for coming along here this evening and putting his voice to this Goals of the Season video. Don't forget, you'll get all the action from all the games at Craven Cottage once again next season, when we hope very much to see Fulham returning to the 2nd Division.